So, if I sound a little nervous, it's because I am. I haven't done this, and by this I mean stand in front of a large group of people like this and speak since college. And if you're doing it right, what I've noticed and what I've been told by a lot of people, that if you're doing it right, you feel like you're about to throw up pretty much the whole time. And so feeling a little bit like that right now, because you guys are kind of intimidating out there. So I'm going to try to keep my nerves down, and we're going to try to get rolling on this. So as you can see here, what we're going to talk about today is called, I'm kind of move this away if that's okay with you. Is it you, Mark? Okay, good. Even if you do, I'm just going to move it. It's called Passion, Purpose, and Great Big Dreams. And here's the question I want to pose to you guys. Have you ever felt like maybe there's more, or maybe that your purpose here on earth is not necessarily something that you're creating, but it's something that's already out there that you're discovering? Does anyone ever feel like that? Does anyone ever feel like, oh man, I'm really happy when I'm doing this. That's kind of my purpose. That's what I'm here to do. But you don't know everything about it. You don't know exactly how to get from where you are now in high school to where you're living completely in God's purpose. Anyone feel like that? Yeah, maybe a little bit. If you're listening, say I am.
I am.
Good. Wow, that's better than I thought. We're sleeping right now. So, what's interesting about this is that if you felt that way, it's probably because that's exactly what's happening. So your purpose in God's economy is already out there, right? And it's just a matter of us reaching out and moving and taking action and getting in touch with that, okay? And so if we look at how we're going to do that, because kind of our end goal here is, as Christians, is hey, how do we find our purpose? And then how do we live in our purpose, right? That would be kind of cool if we could enter into our purpose. Is this a marker? How do I do this? Are you kidding me? Look at that. If we could find our purpose and we could live our life in our purpose, that would be pretty cool, right? And God's looking at our life and saying, yeah, you are rocking it for me, right? That's kind of what we're looking at. And so if we look at it this way, so we start with a purpose, and then the next step is, and I'm going to go back over this, we're going to call this discernment, and then we're going to look at the next step, certainty, action, and we're going to end over here at manifest. Okay, so now I'm going to take you through this because this is important. Okay, right now, I'm throwing you guys the deep ball, and I'm hoping there's someone open downfield. And if you're feeling a little lost, just stay with me. Just stay with me. Okay. So if we started our purpose, okay, so this is where God's at with us, right? This is God saying you are put on this earth to do this, right? So there's a couple of things that come into play for us to understand that. Okay, and the first piece of it is when God says something, you have to understand that. And in the Bible, understanding that is called discernment. When you hear it and you understand it, you can discern what the words are saying to you in your heart and your soul. Does that make sense? So discernment is just really a fancy word for understanding, comprehending, okay? So first you've got to get the purpose. You've got to understand it. You've got to receive it in words or feelings and emotions. You've got to understand it. And then you've got to have certainty, okay? So, have you ever been told, hey, go jump off, or go get on this roller coaster? Maybe some people, is anyone scared of roller coasters? Yeah? Okay. So has anyone ever been hey, go get on this roller coaster, it's a blast. And you're kind of I haven't seen anyone die, but I'm not certain that I'm not going to die because I feel like it's going to be me. Anyone ever feel like that? Right? But if you go to that roller coaster, and if you're one of those people, anyone not afraid of roller coasters? This guy, right? I'm man, the possibility of dying on this roller coaster, that's the way to go. So, I'm all about it, all right? And so, for me, when I see a roller coaster, people are man, you could die. I'm I am certain I will not die on this roller coaster, okay? That's certainty. I know that I'm not going to die on this roller coaster, okay? So we've got our purpose. We've discerned our purpose. We've understood our purpose. We're certain that we know that this is our purpose. Then we have to take action. I'd like to tell you an interesting story about taking action. It comes from the Bible. I'm going to say the Bible. If you're listening, say I am.
I am.
Okay, very good. I still got most of everybody. This comes from Exodus chapter 3. This comes from my homeboy Moses. Anybody know Moses? Yeah? Familiar with that? I'm not talking about my car. If you guys know me well, you know that I named my car Moses because he's a Kia, and he's from, I think it's Korea. I think it's a Korean car, and so he was delivered from another land. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. Okay, so some of the sixth graders are going to get it in like 2 years. They're going to go, I get it. You got it. Okay, so here it is. Exodus chapter 3, verse 7. The Lord said, he's talking to Moses. Okay, now we're not going to get too deep on that because that's a whole other talk. The Lord said to Moses, the Lord said in words to Moses, hi Joshlet, like that, to Moses, okay, we're not going to, you see that, John? We're not going to get into that, okay, today, but that's a whole sermon in itself, those whole 3 words. I have indeed seen the misery of my people. I have indeed seen the misery. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers. I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hands of the Egyptians and bring them back out of that land and into a spacious land of flowing milk and honey. So far, Moses is digging. Okay, so we all get where Moses is at, right? He's in front of the burning bush. We know that, right? He killed an Egyptian. Then he got scared because he thought Pharaoh was going to come out and get him. So he ran away. And now here he is, he's out a shepherd, watching some flock of sheep for his father-in-law. And now, he sees this burning bush, and he's like, wow, that bush is burning, but it's not. That's peculiar. Let me check that out. Which I think we would do. I would want to see it, wouldn't you? Yes? If you would, say I would.
I would.
Thank you. And so here he is standing in front of this burning bush, and it's God. It's God's voice. How do we know that? Because the Bible says it. It says God. The Lord said. So it's God's voice. And he comes down and says all these things. He says, I have indeed seen. I have heard. I am concerned. I have come down. Now here's the interesting part. Verse 10. So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. And we'll see how that... So Moses is digging this. Moses is like, yes, you do that. You crush it. You kill it. Sorry I spit on you, Colby. You get it. And then God does this funny thing where he turns around and he says, now you go. And Moses is like, oh, whoa. Did not sign up for that. You know what I mean? And then we all know Moses goes into all these things. I'm slow of tongue. I can't speak well. Oh, that's fine. I'm going to give you Aaron to talk for you. Don't worry about all that. Oh, well, what if I get there and they ridicule me and they say, oh, who are you? And blah, blah, blah. Oh, don't worry. You just tell them that I am sent you. Okay? The point here is this. God's going to give us our purpose. God's going to give us the discernment. We have to become certain of that. Okay? That's our part. We have to know that we know that we know. Then we have to take the action. God's going to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to change GStudents. I'm going to change this city. I'm going to take Aberdeen Southern Pines, Moore County, the United States. I'm going to do that. You go out and live in my kingdom and be an ambassador for me. And then the last piece is manifestation. So manifestation is a biblical word for it happened. Manifestation means that I was told it here, I understood it here, right? I became positive of it here, I took action of it here, and then it happened right here. Moses went to Egypt. And all those things that God said were going to happen manifested themselves. That's pretty powerful, if you ask me. So what's interesting about purpose, to me, is that we've all tasted it. Can we all agree on that? We've all tasted that moment where we have been in sheer bliss, where we have been living in our purpose, where some time has stopped and we are doing exactly what we love to do. You know what I mean? Like, for a guy like Brandon and for a guy like Ryan Kettner, like, that's up here. They're doing what they love to do. There is no time. There's nothing, because they're in the moment of their purpose. And it aligns with their passion, right? And we're going to talk about that relationship here in a few minutes. But it's important that you understand that we've all been in those moments where our purpose is aligned with God's purpose for us. So I want to tell you about a theory that's out there called leadership convergence theory. Is there a way to erase this, or do I just... Is there... Oh. We're great, man. Kill it, 6th graders. Love it. Love it, 6th graders and GStudents. We're just killing it over here, just generally kind of. I hope you got these notes. If you didn't, then you can see me later, and we'll go over it, I guess. Leadership convergence theory. So, like, leadership's a big thing for me, right? Because, like, I'm in the Army. I love leadership. I love to learn about leadership. I love how to study how other great leaders have led people. Like, I find it really hard to lead people because people are a lot of times only interested in themselves. And so if you can get other people interested in, you know, a common cause, like, that's cool. Like, if you haven't seen people, like, come together and, like, move mountains, like, that's a cool feeling. So leadership convergence theory is where your passions, your giftings overlap, okay? So if you can imagine it like this. So you've got your gifts over here. You've got your... Let me make sure I do it right. Yep. That's a star, in case you're wondering. You need some discernment. That's a star. That's a star. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just made that star manifest. So leadership convergence theory is this. When you find that area that you're gifted, okay? For myself, I would say that I'm gifted in leadership, okay? It's also my passion, right? Because I like to learn about leadership. I like to study leadership, how to be a good leader. And then knowledge. It's something that I like to get into books and read about people who are good leaders. I like to broaden myself on how different leadership styles and stuff. So when I can position myself and my purpose, or and I find that my purpose is positioned right here in between all these three things, guess what? My leadership is converging. And like, that's a pretty big deal, because like, our purpose is going to live right in here, because you're going to feel it. You're going to feel that moment of bliss when you're doing what you're meant to do, because you're good at it, because you're passionate about it, because you know about it and you love learning about it. That's how you identify your path or your purpose, And it's such a big deal, okay? And so here's why it's such a big deal. Because your purpose, take this down if you're taking notes, your purpose is a future that is seeking to be made manifest. So if we look at that last one, your purpose is actively trying to become manifest. Purpose is actively trying to become manifest, okay? Your purpose is trying to come to a realization, okay? And what's interesting about that is that has already happened in the future, and you don't even know it. So what I'm saying is that the person that you're meant to be is already existing in the future. And here's how I can prove that biblically. So we're going to go to... Actually, before I go into the Bible, I'm going to prove it scientifically. So if I get two, let me get two people. Oh, bam, you two, great. He's smiling, right there. Just kidding. Come up here real quick. Okay, so I really dig. Just stand right here and smile and wave. Okay, so I really dig. One of the things that I really like is I like studying like quantum physics, just a little bit, because I'm not very smart, but I'm smart enough to say quantum physics, and so I can read some of the words, okay? And then, like, Madeline, who's a teacher, I'm like, what does this word mean? She's like, it's the. And I'm like, no, okay, I know. So in quantum physics, there's a law out there called quantum entanglement, Okay, and here's what quantum entanglement means. That means when there's two, okay, you two come right here, stand right here. Okay, here's what's going to happen. When I say turn, you're going to turn this way. Okay, like this. And you're just going to keep turning nice and slow. Go ahead and practice. Yep, nice and slow. Okay, stop. When I say turn, you're going to turn like that. Now, when she turns like that, you're going to turn like this. Okay? Does that make sense? Go ahead and practice. So you're going to. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so if these two right here are like little particles that are bonded, right? Okay, just imagine. Just go with me on this. Okay, now check this out. They're right next to each other. They're so close, okay? Now turn. Okay, stop. Here's what's interesting about quantum entanglement. If I take her, and I bring her way over here, and I take you and I push you way out here at the edge of these chairs, this is science. This is science. I'm not making this up. Go look it up. And I say turn. This still happens. I'm serious. I'm serious. Okay, you guys are good. You guys are good. I'm serious. Yeah, give it up for one. Just 6 fingers is turning. And so you guys are probably like, this is powerful. Because it's science. And the science is proving that there is no space, time, and distance in a spiritual realm. Because what science is proving in that little bit is that two things that are an infinite distance apart from each other can affect one another. Isn't that crazy? Is anyone else getting how powerful that is? Where do we see this in what we call wisdom literature or biblical literature? What about this? What about let's put that first verse up there. We can go to the first verse. Matthew chapter 8. Matthew chapter 8. NIV. Lord, he said, my servant lies at home paralyzed, suffering terribly. Jesus said to him, shall I come and heal him? The centurion replied, Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof, but say the word, and my servant will be healed. Then down at verse 13, then Jesus said to the centurion, go and let it be done as you believed it would. And his servant was healed. Are we seeing it now? Is anyone else getting a little freaked out now? Now we've got science that's proving that there is no space and time. That there is, in fact, science is proving there's a spiritual realm. And then we've got wisdom literature that says Jesus doesn't have to go to a place to speak a word and it can be healed. That's powerful. There's another one. Go to the next one. When he said this, Jesus called out a loud voice. Everybody knows what I'm talking about here, right? Story of Lazarus, died, put in the tomb, right? Yeah. Lazarus, come out. The dead man came out, and his hands and feet wrapped with strips of linen and cloth around his feet. Go back and look at it. Does it say Jesus came up and laid hands on him? Jesus isn't even in the tomb. Is anyone else is this freaking anyone else out? He's not even in the tomb. Lazarus, spoken word, boom. Purpose, discernment, certainty. Jesus didn't walk up to the tomb and think to himself, oh, this one works. Oh, Lazarus, come on out. No. He walked up to the tomb and before he even got there, he said, I'm glad Lazarus died. Check this out. Lazarus, come on out, my man. We got science proving it. We got science proving what the Bible says. What this tells us is that we can speak things here and they can happen there. And that's not right now. That's not just right now. That doesn't mean if you're mad at your parents right now and you say inside to yourself and in your small group, you know what, I'm not going to be mad at my parents anymore. I'm going to forgive my parents for what they've done because that's what I'm called to do. Or your little brother or sister or your teacher or this person at school that hurts your feelings. You know what? I forgive them. You say it out loud. And you say it to them even though they're not here. And you say it to God and you say it to no one else. You say it out loud. Because a spoken word here can mean something there. Now what about this? What if there is the future? What if the spoken word you say is, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a worship leader. Josh Lett. I will be a worship leader. I am going to be a professional author. I am going to be a professional architect because that's what I did. You know? So funny. So funny. That was good. That was by accident, too. I didn't even rehearse that one. Okay, so let me back this up. Let me back this up with some scripture here. Let's go to Acts chapter 9. Go ahead and throw that up. So in Acts chapter 9, we find Saul, Paul, we know is one and the same, right? Blinded. If you're listening, say I am.
I am.
Okay, good. I love it. Check it out. Paul, Saul, same person. Blinded on the road to. Paul, blinded on the road to. Man, we killed it. Okay? And so God comes down and God says, in Acts chapter 9, the Lord told him, talking about Ananias, who is the guy that we know later on heals Paul's vision, says to Ananias, go to the house of Judas on Straight Street and ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul, for he is praying. In a vision, he has seen a man named Ananias. You come and place his hand on him and restore his sight. It hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet, and God said, in the future, Ananias, you will go to this person's house on this street. Like, that's pretty clear cut. Like, is anyone starting to get freaked out a little bit? Like, we're getting some good stuff here. He said to Ananias, God did, you go to this person's house, to this street. Why? Because I have already shown that blind man Paul your face. He is blind, but when he opens his eyes, he better see your face. He's blind now, but he's seen your face. Blind but seen. And so Ananias, in that moment, has a purpose, discerned his purpose, becomes certain of his purpose when he realizes, oh, this is the big guy. Takes action because he goes to meet Paul, and what happens? It manifests. And Paul gets his vision back. Your purpose on earth is already out there. As a good friend of mine likes to say, a fellow by the name of Lance Wallnow, your purpose on earth is to find where your face is in the future and get your butt there. So the last piece that I want to talk about here, it's really got like two little things left, is I want to talk about dreams. Because I think we get confused on dreams. So, Josh Lett, tell me what one of your dreams are. Okay, that's perfect. See, that's fair. That's fair. Like, we don't care if she's godly, we don't care if she's successful. As long as she's beautiful, that's where Josh is at. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fair. Okay, Colby, tell me one of your dreams. I'm talking dreams, brother. Like, it keeps you up at night. Like, if you could have this would be the bomb. Okay, famous musician. Okay, let's get, where's Joe? Joe King. Joe King.
Alright, mine's a little different. Y'all might not even know who this is, but you know how much I love music, and my favorite all-time musician is Bruce Springsteen.
I think that's the lead singer of Creed, right? Okay, there, that's awesome. That's awesome, that's perfect. So, as we talk about dreams, I think a lot of times in today's age, dreams have become these outlandish wishes, hopes, desires, wants that we have that we're like, oh man, I'd love to meet Bruce Springsteen and bring him to the Lord. I'd love to be a world famous, musician. Maybe it's not in the cards, but I'd love to have a beautiful wife. Lord, let your will be done. I mean, if she's a Christian, that's cool too. Beautiful spiritually is what he meant. Beautiful spiritually. So here's the interesting thing about dreams is that that's kind of what they've become. Dreams are kind of represented in these great, big, outlandish things that we wish and we hope we could have. But we're like, probably not going to get it. There's probably been a few times in Joaquin's life where he's like, probably not going to meet Bruce Springsteen, and if I do, I'm probably not going to be like, hey man, listen, can I talk to you about my boy Gigi? My boy's been trying to holler at you. It's probably, you know what I mean? Like Joe's probably been like, man, I'd meet him, but I don't know if I'd be able to get the chance to talk to you. But that's okay. But what you got to understand is there was a time in the Bible when the dream showed us, humankind, a tiny glimpse of God's plan for our life. Okay? And so, I'm not sure exactly how to get into this next piece, but the last piece that I have for you is it revolves around passion. Because you can't just find your purpose and not be passionate about it. You've got to be passionate about it, okay? And so what's really cool is that God is going to power your passion for your purpose, okay? How do we know that? Because in Acts chapter 1, verse 8, boom, kill it. Got it. But you will receive the power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will witness in Jerusalem, in all Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. Okay? Stay with me. How will we receive that power? Next, Colossians 3. Colossians 3:17 is probably one we're all familiar with. Do you have to be or work in a church to do ministry? No. Can you be a happening architect and do ministry? Can you be a janitor and do ministry? Can you be a teacher, a principal, a football player, a basketball player, anything, and do ministry?
Absolutely.
Does that make you any less holy than someone who's working in the church? No. If your purpose can align with your passion, then this right here happens. And whatever you do, whether in word or in deed, this is an all skate verse. This is we all get on this. You guys don't even know. Do you guys go skating?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, this is like an everybody. Thanks. Okay, this is like an everybody in kind of deal. Okay, in all things that you do them for the glory of God. Okay, and that's how you receive the power from Jesus to witness to all the earth. Okay, go to the last verse, 1 Timothy. Command those who are rich in the present, not in the arrogant, nor to those who put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, and put their hope in God, who richly provides for us of everything. Command them to do good and to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. Okay? This is telling us that if we live in God's purpose and passion, if we make our passion God's purpose for our lives, that we will be given the power. And then he tells us what to do with the power. He says, with the power, command those who are already rich. Okay? Your purpose is about proximity and commanding. Your purpose is about your proximity to other people in the world and to God. If I want to minister to Colby, that doesn't mean I have to go up to Colby and be like, hey man, let me tell you about my man Jesus. He's this and he's that, and talk his ear off about the 10 Commandments and every single book in the Bible. That means that I have to live passionately for Jesus in proximity to Colby, and Jesus will do the rest. Okay? Is everyone getting that?
Yeah.
It's okay to dream. It's okay to reach out and say, I want to do happening things in life. I want to be a musician. I want to be an artist. I want to be an author. I want to do all that stuff. You don't have to know today, but you've got to start praying about what God's purpose for you is. And don't think that it's any less important than anyone else's, because everyone is called to do it to the honor and glory of God. And that's everything. And it's important because you guys aren't told that enough. You don't have to do what everyone else tells you to do. You have to do what God is calling you to do. You don't even have to do that. You have the choice to do that. So as you guys go into your small groups, think about this. What am I being called to do? Because no one may have ever told you that you're a freaking rock star. But you are a rock star. Each and every person in this room, you're a rock star. And you don't even know it because no one's told you that, because your whole life you've been beat down, you've been beat down, you've been beat down. And maybe this is the only time that you come every week to hear that good things are happening for you. And I'm sorry for that. And God's sorry for that. But you know what? We can move forward. And you should know that this stuff right here is powerful. It's scientific and it's biblical. Okay? Hey, we're gonna get weird here in our small groups. Alright, it's gonna be a little different. So on the count of, okay, in just a second, we're gonna do one of my favorite things that Lance Wall now does. Okay, it's called, and the senior high guys, and I think some of the other guys that were AXP or EXP know what I'm talking about. Okay, do you guys remember what I'm talking about? Okay. So what we're gonna do is on the count of 3, I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we're all gonna say as one. Okay, and what that means is all of us are gonna come together as one. And we're going to say that, and what we're saying is that we're going to work as one for God's glory. Okay, so this is a practice. 1, 2, 3. That was so weak. Oh my gosh. I got 12 senior high guys that can do better than that. There's like 75 of you guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Just a little bit more. That was a 9. I need an 11. 1, 2, 3. That's powerful. Go to your small groups.